Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Mile High Game Guys Board Gaming Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Adrian.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Jeff.
And we're here to talk to you about some board games.
No. Where are we coming from?
From the unusually and annoyingly warm
It's not
Denver,
that
Colorado.
bad. I'm glad that it at least is getting all the snow off of the streets.
Now,
Except this morning when it was a nightmare of liquid on top of ice and trying to get out of side streets.
What?
Yeah. It
I had
sucked.
no problem.
I had no problem.
I had problems.
It's better side streets.
No, yeah.
Get better tires?
live better on those. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, totally. Let me just get some spike tires to get on that fucking ice.
I mean, I've got winter tires on both of my vehicles right now because it's fucking winter.
No.
We live in the city. You don't need winter tires.
I go to the mountains enough.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
I don't.
They actually have laws requiring you.
Oh, no, nice. Yeah, in the mountains, sure. If you ever go by there, yeah, but
That's why I don't go to the mountains.
Yeah.
That's where the hill people live.
No, it's the mountain people because it's mountains, not hills.
I had my fan in the window last night, full blast blowing in, and I still got like too hot in my room. Like it was that warm last night. I was sweating. I woke up this morning sweating. It was annoying.
Because it's 50? It was 50 outside?
Yeah, it at least cooled off. Actually, as the day went on, I felt like it felt way warmer when I left for work this morning than when I left work this evening.
Correct.
I don't know. It was also really windy.
That's time. Yeah, that's how time works.
It was crazy windy at like 5 o'clock when I woke up.
Oh, okay.
Everyone was complaining about wind. I live in a basement and just you can't tell that wind is happening.
I didn't notice any wind.
Yep.
Yeah. Aside from the weather, because that's a very interesting topic that I'm sure our listeners really care about.
The first week of January, and we've got some nice springtime warm coming in.
That we do.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be 50 to 60 the entire week. So.
Meanwhile, today, Crested Butte Ski Resort shut down because they had too much snow.
2 feet of snow or something crazy.
In like 24 hours.
Yeah.
The rest of the mountains are supposed to get, like I saw the Front Range mountains are going to get 1 to 2 feet by Friday. And of course, my pass is blacked out on Saturday.
Why?
Because he didn't buy the expensive
Some arbitrary, blackout dates. Like the other ones make sense, like Thanksgiving, Christmas, fucking Valentine's Day.
I mean, it's the Saturday of Martin Luther King Jr. Day, so I understand.
I mean, that's got to be it. I don't know. It's a long weekend. And
I get that Monday off, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
What's a day off?
I work for the government, so...
Yeah, everything's a day off.
Although it's not... our friend Andrew, he works for the Girl Scouts, and like they're just like, oh, there's this one holiday, just take that whole week off. That's fine.
Must be nice.
Good times.
I was amazed at how late the school right around the corner from my apartment, like they have their, students are on winter break and it was till today.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like,
That must have been...
Well, I don't know, I know... Like in the last couple of years, like some people have been doing, or like some schools have been just shortening the summer break and then just lengthening winter break and then like having a spring break and fall break, whatever. So it's just a constant.
maybe it's better for learning.
Yeah.
I like the little wheel motion you're doing with your hand.
They heard it. They heard it. All the joints in my bones, crack, 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 crack.
Yes.
You understood what that was.
Clearly.
It's like, oh, Zach's making hand motions again.
So, have you guys played some board games?
Yes.
We played Terraforming Mars without you again.
We did.
God damn it.
Look, you could have played with us, but you're like, oh, I got to go to the mountains.
I spent a lot of money on a snowboard.
Yeah.
Ugh.
That's what you sound like.
That's what you sound like.
That's your dick.
That's what everyone has to hear you talk like when they listen to this podcast.
But
I don't know. They must tune in for Zach and I.
Yeah.
But I finally got my game trays.
Finally.
He put that shit on 2-day ship because I think he knew he fucked up.
Yep.
He also put a $5 gift card in there, so I might buy something else from him.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, yeah.
And then you wait 3 months and then you'll get it.
I have an Eclipse now. Maybe I'll get some Eclipse trays.
There you go.
Eclipse seems like it would be another game that could
Yes.
use some...
Yes. But yeah, playing with those trays was awesome.
Yep. They're super nice. I got the stickers for them. That color actually helps a lot instead of just the standard space gray that I got them in.
Especially because the space gray, the icons they had on there, it didn't have the 2-for-1 on the steel or the 3-for-1 on the titanium.
Or the 8 to temperature,
Yeah.
8 to plants.
It didn't have those actions on there either, just on the tray itself. So having the stickers was like, oh, it's nice for new people. So
Okay.
And I
There's no zero space, but meh.
yeah, you just take it off. That's whatever. That's fine. But yeah, the first thing I did was I took a resource, I put it in energy, and then I shoved it over to heat. And
It's got a nice ramp tray thing right there.
It was nice. And then I made Paul do it, and he's like, why the fuck are you making me do this? And I'm like, you should feel this.
Yeah.
Weirdos.
It's just our love of terraforming Mars.
Mm-hmm. I lost, unfortunately, but it was good. It was a good game, and it was close,
a high
too.
scoring game.
It was.
Yeah, 98 for the winner?
96, 91, and then
60 something.
Yeah.
I don't know, way back.
No, you had 70, I thought. No. You didn't.
No.
Sorry.
Don't get your. It's like, don't think you did that well.
Yeah. It didn't help that I had some microbe stuff, and I had some animal stuff, and Jeff had predators, which were eating my animals, and Paul had ants that were eating my microbes.
But he also had protected habitat, so we couldn't eat his ants.
We couldn't mess with his shit. And I was like, damn it.
Yep. I went like livestock, predators, and herbivores. I had all three of those out, and I got them out real early because we jacked temperature almost all the way up before oxygen even moved once.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
I played the Thermal to Money Corporation, and I kept getting past like the Soletta and like other crazy. I had over 20 thermal production a turn.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I got dead last.
I was my starting ones was either Phobo Log and then
Space and then
Saturn systems. So I was like, oh, I'm doing space either way.
Yep.
So I'll do this, and then so it made it really easy for people to be like, oh, this has a Jupiter symbol, a Jovian tag. Yeah, I'm just gonna toss that. And I was like, God damn it, fucking Paul.
Yeah.
Rough.
The last one he got rid of was the one where it's like, you get a point for every Jovian tag you had. And I also drew another one of those too. And I'm like, oh, God, if I could have gotten both of those,
You would have gotten some points.
I would have won.
You got no points.
I got points. I just didn't get any points of that.
Just not enough points.
No, I was 5 points shy.
Yep.
Womp womp.
Yep.
Well,
I played 2 games of RoboRally. I won both of them, which was pretty awesome. I continue to really like RoboRally. I really think that the competitive side of RoboRally is one of the things that I really like about it compared to like Mechs vs. Minions. The other thing is I definitely like that I can pick the order of my things and they don't get messed up, which is something they changed in the new edition of RoboRally. So I don't know if I would like it as much if like things could get randomly messed up, because like for me it's a puzzle. Like I can plot out like these things on the board will affect me in these ways. So if I move like this, and this, then I should do okay. Like sometimes other players can get in the way, but that's different than like drawing a random card that all of a sudden makes me spin in a circle and drive the opposite direction or something. So, I don't know. I'd be interested to try the new edition of RoboRally, but
yeah, it sounds interesting.
I think I'll.
I still need to try that game at some point.
You've never played RoboRally?
Nope. Usually because it's at game night and it's like 5 other people, and I'm like, I don't want to stay that long for a game.
I also I taught Sheriff of Nottingham to 4 new players. It was it ended up being a fine game, and things went well. I got 3rd.
Did you say a fine game or a fun game?
Fine.
Okay.
It was fine.
Everything's fine.
The kind of shitty thing is, so I was teaching it, so I was like, I'll be Sheriff first so you guys can all kind of see. But they were not only new players, like I had never played any games with any of these people before either, so I didn't know like how to read them for like calling their bluffs on things. And so my first turn, like I called one bluff and they weren't bluffing at all. And then I let through 2 people who were just seriously lying, like just packed full of lies.
Packed with lies.
And so like for my first turn, it kind of sucked because I had no idea how to read them. By the end of the game, like the second time around, I did a much better job and solicited many bribes.
Did you, it seemed like they actually got into the game though, right?
Yeah, as it went on. Yeah. Like the first round or 2, like people weren't quite sure, like I did the thing where like somebody was like, here's 4 bread, and I picked it up. I was like, that doesn't smell like bread. I don't think that's bread. Like things like that to kind of get people into the kind of role playing with big air quotes there, because I think that makes that game a lot better if you kind of act it up a bit. And then I played some drinking games, and then after drinking games, Ant was like, let's play Hanabi. And then 2 other people were like, ooh, what's that? I'd like to play. And so then we taught Hanabi to 2 people at like midnight, half drunk. And then we lost. And so then Ant was like, all right, well, I'm going to play just a 2-player game with Adrian. I was like, dude, I want to go to bed. And he was like, no, we're going to play. And we like failed hard right away and then started again and then failed hard right away. And I was like, all right, if we fail hard again, I'm just going to bed. Like, I'm not going to keep doing this. And then we actually ended up doing pretty good on the last one of it. So
I still don't like 2-player on that nearly as much as the others, even like with 3 or 4 players. I think
it's best at 2.
I don't know. That I feel you're most relying on whatever the card draw is, because if you like the couple times we've played, we've just gotten shitty draws, and it's just like there's really nothing that we could do.
I guess I could kind of see that. At game night, I don't remember what I played at game night.
I played a lot of Seven Wonders Duel.
Oh, that's right, we did. Yes,
Yeah.
he finally got a chance to play it.
Oh, awesome.
Like, after 6 other plays of my copy of the game that I have not taken part in. I really like it. It's a good game.
Yeah, you need to get the expansion for it.
Apparently.
I've heard great things about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I played 4-player Santorini, and then I played Splendor, which I didn't enjoy. And
Why not?
I increasingly don't like that game.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. Like, exactly. It's boring to me now. Like, it has gotten to where, like, every game feels like every other game I've ever played of it. Like, there's nothing new there for me.
Okay, I can understand that. Yeah.
And then we played Werewolf, and it was actually a really good game of Werewolf in that I almost won.
We were lovers in that, and as soon as whoever picked it won, I was like, "Fucking what regular chose that?" Because whenever it's a regular, it's always like you and me, or you and Bob, or me and Bob. You know, like there are like 5 people that they always choose. But like I saw that you were chosen, and I was just like, oh fuck, I'm gonna die really early.
We're both fucked,
especially because at the beginning of the first day. You got nominated, and I was like, no, fuck.
Yep. But they didn't hang me, and I got nominated the second night, and they didn't hang me again, and then they stopped nominating me.
Yep.
I was the cursed, and so ultimately we get down to the last turn, and the werewolves ate me, and so the moderator was like, no one died, and everybody thought the bodyguard like protected, and then during the day they found and hung a werewolf. And so they're like, that's got to be all the werewolves, right? And he goes, all right, everybody go to sleep. And they're like, what the fuck? And he's like, and now the cursed awakens. And like, I opened my eyes to look around for other werewolves, and there were no other werewolves.
Right.
Like, they had hung the last werewolf during the day after they'd eaten me that night. So then I was the only werewolf, and I almost pulled out a solo werewolf victory.
Yeah.
It would have been really hard, but
It also didn't help that on the next day I got put on the block, because as soon as David, who moderated it, said, all right, werewolf and cursed wake up, Nick Lavulo, our friend, just goes, we got a shitty fucking defender. And I just audibly just laughed as hard, because it was funny the way he said it was great, and then Nick was like, yeah, Zach must be the curse and blah blah, and I'm like, my defense was, dude, you said something funny and I laughed. That's all. That's all that happened. And then I ended up surviving that one, and I was just like, fuck, that was close.
Yeah. And then they ended up hanging me. Like, at one point, I got nominated there at the end, and like I gave a defense, and they're like, all right, everybody who wants to vote for the other person, and I raised my hand, and no one else raises their hand.
I think I did too.
No, even that one you didn't. The very last one.
I know I didn't vote for you. So
yeah. And then but then everybody else who was still in voted for me. It was like, oh, all right.
Yeah.
But it was fun. I like playing Werewolf again. I'm glad it's starting to get out occasionally.
Still will never moderate it again. But
but
and then we played a big game.
Yeah, last night.
Of Fury of Dracula. First time I had played it.
Took about 5 hours from starting the setup to the final teardown.
Yeah.
Which was a little bit brutal, but it was a fun game.
Mm-hmm.
I was Dracula, and
I was not Dracula.
Paul, Jeff, and David were the 4 hunters. David played 2 of them.
Yeah, I was just setting up a keyboard, so that's why I did not partake in this.
I got to go program a keyboard, guys.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun. So similar to when we reviewed Star Wars Rebellion, I talked about how the mechanics and the theme really go well together, to where, like, in that one, the rebel player feels constantly like this oppressive force bearing down on them, whereas like the Empire player feels like this little like annoying rebellion just chipping away at them, and like that feeling comes through really well in the mechanics of the game. This is the same way. Like, as Dracula, I felt constantly hounded. Like, they were always like right on my heels for most of the game. And Whereas like they were regularly like, what? He could be anywhere. Like he could went here or could went here or could went there. And then they'd inevitably like move right in my direction almost every time.
We got some lucky card draws of like, hey, what region are you in? Hey, are you adjacent to anyone? And he was in an ocean tile. And it's like, oh, well, he's clearly in this specific ocean tile.
Yeah, one person was adjacent to the ocean. And it was like one of the only like spaces that could have been adjacent to that ocean. It was really annoying.
Because we could have lost him in the ocean because we didn't know if he took like the Mediterranean south or if he took the North Atlantic to the west, like towards England. But we thinned that down real good.
There was one or two times when I was able to like play a card strategically. Like one of them was somebody tried to use a train to move like in the direction where the opposite where most of everyone was going. Like they were like, we're pretty sure he's over here, but one of us should go check over here just to be certain.
Right.
And when that person went to go check over there, I played a card where I got to move them, and I moved them the opposite way, and they were all like, oh, he's got to be over there. He's got to be over there. And then they all started going that way, and then Paul was like, I'm still going to check one more city over. And that's when he found my trail. And I was like, damn it.
Yeah, I mean, the theme of the game is, Dracula's on his moon base, and he is trying to wait out the centuries until he can come back and conquer the world, and then he's finally come back.
What are you talking about?
The only Dracula thing that I've ever read is Dr. McNinja, and that's the exact story.
Oh, okay.
So it's not that. It's definitely heavily based off of Bram Stoker's Dracula, the very traditional one.
There are many other vampires that he creates that are annoying. And
Nina Harker is one of the hunters. Van Helsing.
Two other guys.
And two others who, one of them I recognized the name from Bram Stoker's Dracula. The other name I did not recognize at all.
Yeah.
But it was definitely fun. I want to play again. I wouldn't mind playing as an investigator. I think that's going to be a game, though, where I will always really like being Dracula. Like
you like those 1v all games. So.
I do. And it was close. It came down to the last turn. David killed me pretty much like if he hadn't killed me, I would have escaped. And if I had escaped, I would have won the next day.
Because his point track would have hit. And and everyone would have been too far to be able to go to anywhere he could have gotten to. We almost won in a technicality, you could call it.
Yes.
It's my favorite new term of 2017, Dracula error. So a Dracula error is if he makes an illegal move accidentally, he takes 5 damage, is revealed, wipes all of his cards off the board, and sort of resets.
How do you know if it's an illegal move?
If it ever comes up, like, because things get pushed off the board and be like, hey, you couldn't have been there or something like that.
Yeah, like if one card comes off and it's say Lisbon, and then the next one is like a different city in Spain that are connected by a railroad that I can't move along, and they're not connected by a regular road, then it's like you could not have moved from this one to this one, so you made an illegal move.
Oh,
so
okay.
then that's when.
But that could have been 6 turns ago, and now he's revealed where he is, and he wipes his board, so he starts over from 0, and everyone knows exactly where he is.
Gotcha.
So we had gotten
it's a harsh punishment.
Yeah, and we had gotten him in the corner of Europe, Eastern Europe, by his castle because he had gone to heal. And I could have played Consecrated Ground, so he can't go back along his trail because his city card is already on the board, and then he can't move to the city that's consecrated, so it's technically a Dracula error.
If you also can't move.
Because he can't move, but he was 2 health away from being dead, and wiping his cards would put them back in the deck and give him more options to move. So we would be forcing him into combat instead of forcing him into like just free play. So we didn't do that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But had he been 2 health closer, I would have Dracula errored him to
I was
death.
going to say, that totally should have done that.
Yeah, it was so close. Paul had done 2 more damage the previous
if Paul
turn.
had been a better fighder. But he was like, I'm going to come beat you in your own castle. And he fought me in the castle, and I ended up killing him.
Yeah, killed him. And then he healed 2, I think.
Yeah. Well, over the course of the battle, I healed like 4-ish because I kept playing bite cards where I heal 2 and he takes 2. But then he'd hurt me in the process, so I ended up being a net 0.
But he would be
he kept taking more damage.
Yeah.
Maybe he should have just busted your fangs so you couldn't bite him.
He tried to punch me, and I just blocked it.
Just punch harder.
But at the end, Dracula was trying to teleport back to his moon base, and we diverted it into the Sahara Desert in the middle of noon. So he burst into flames.
No, well, there you go.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I liked it, though.
Cool.
It's more Dr. McNinja reference.
That's what I figured.
Okay.
Yeah.
He has a laser on the moon, too.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome. Good for Dracula.
We also played, what was that game that we played?
Mag Blast.
Oh, God.
So it came out the year after first edition Twilight Imperium. I had looked it up. It's the same designer and everything. Did Twilight Imperium, first, second, third, and Mag Blast. It's a card space sort of game where you shoot lasers at each other, and all the ships and races are from Twilight Imperium, and it takes forever. And
The box said 10 to 15 minutes. Board Game Geek said 60 minutes,
Yep.
and that is more accurate, yes.
Yes. And the guy that wanted to play it hadn't played it in like 15 years
Yep.
and had clearly made no effort to read the rules before we started playing.
And also was slightly inebriated, too.
And like arrived drunk. And it was an okay game that the second and third editions I've heard are better. That I would be interested
It would be
in.
except for the art.
Except for all the art from Mag Blast second and third edition is Munchkin.
Yeah,
Munchkin
it's
art.
by the guy that did Munchkin.
What?
Yeah. And I kind of like the art from the first edition.
Yeah, it's better than Munchkin, yeah.
Yep. And it loses all the Twilight Imperium names and ship names and stuff.
Gotcha.
Yeah. It's but like you said, it was a little interesting in some of those things, but it just felt like too,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Took too long.
Yes, for what it was.
But it was interesting to play like, oh, this is Twilight Imperium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff, do you have Bloody Minute for us this week?
I haven't played Blood Bowl in a week.
So no.
Ant is literally playing right now and texting me pictures of his game. And the person he's been playing against has played with 12 people on the pitch the whole time when you're only supposed to have a max of 11. He's been playing with an extra man the whole game.
Ant didn't notice that
Ant
immediately?
didn't notice, no. On turn 14, he realized he's been playing with 12 on the pitch every turn.
Who's winning right now?
Yes. Probably not the human guy, just to be fair.
Yeah.
Because he's playing against Ant.
Yeah. That's why I was like, it's
rolling.
still probably okay.
It just balanced it out.
Yeah. There's a lot of double skulls happening in his game.
Gotcha.
Guy went 2-die uphill against his troll, rolled double skulls. You don't go 2-die uphill against troll.
I don't know what that means.
So you roll block dice.
Okay.
And if you have higher strength, you get to roll like 2 dice. And then if you have double +1, you get to roll 3 dice. But if you're blocking someone that's stronger than you roll 2 dice, and your opponent chooses which one that you take.
Okay.
2-die uphill.
Oh, that makes sense. And then he just rolled 2.
Then he rolled 2 of the worst things anyways, so he was screwed either way. Yep. A
Gotcha.
2-die uphill is not a good idea.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But I play David next. We might play at game night. We might play some other time. I don't know.
All right, so tune in next week for
For
Bloody
how I
Minute.
get crushed by chaos in the next week's Bloody Minute.
Yeah.
Or I get really lucky again and
Yeah,
crush
we'll
him.
see.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's move on to some news and Kickstarter then, shall we?
Indeed. Kickstarter's Kingdom Death Monster 1.5 has finally ended, and ended at a paltry $12.3 million. Fourth all-time.
Yeah, fourth of all time.
Most Kickstarted thing
Yep.
on Kickstarter.
Which is ridiculous that 12 million is fourth.
Do you remember that cooler that I was talking
Oh, yeah.
about? That apparently most of those have not been delivered, and there's a class action lawsuit
Shocker.
Yeah.
people are looking into.
And all the rest
I
of
don't doubt
Pebble
it.
watches, and Pebble doesn't exist anymore.
Exactly, yeah.
19,000 backers and an average of about $643 pledge per person.
Yep, sounds about right.
Yeah, that game did well.
Yeah, it did.
See you in 2020 when it delivers.
I mean, the final of it, yes.
I mean, I'll be surprised if any of it delivers on time.
On time, no, but some of the on time stuff was this year. So I could see, some of it being next year, but not all of it. Like the first thing that comes out is 2020.
I have a feeling it got too big, and it's going to have
it did.
major problems because of it.
Yeah, scale.
At least his previous one was at like 2 million or something like that. So it's not like it was like 20,000 and then 12 million.
Yeah.
So there's definitely the scale of economies is different. So yeah.
Yeah, like eventually that whole economics of scale breaks down for some of those things. Like when it comes to Kickstarters, it seems like they can plan for like small things that are reasonable to ship and handle, and then they get ridiculous. Like the cooler. Like the cooler probably would have made sense if they had barely funded and gotten like 10,000 people. But then it blows up way too big and it just becomes impossible to manage.
At the very least, the timeline is like, oh, here's like the mains, like they at least set set goals of, this year we'll do the main game and the this expansion and then some more expansions on the next year. Like at least they said like it'll take a while to get everything done instead of like, oh, we'll just have everything done in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
People will be punching a lion's balls in no time.
Yes, they will.
So Lisboa funded. A few weeks back we talked about that. I paid in time to get the early shipping for both my Vinhos and my Gallerist, and they will be here tomorrow.
I was going to say, yeah.
Which is pretty awesome. I'm looking forward to that.
I hope you aren't going to try and bring those to game night. Like, let's play this, okay?
Fuck no. Although I am, since
you should actually bring them so I can look at them.
Well, yeah, I'll probably bring them. I'm not going to even remotely try to play them. But I was actually thinking, since I am blacked out at the condo or at the ski resorts on Saturday, I might go see if Edward and them are willing to teach me one of the two at the heavy cardboard game day on Saturday.
Fuck us, right? That's what I'm hearing.
You guys can come.
No, you didn't say that, though.
I have to work so I can go to the 4th anniversary.
Yeah.
Party. Next on Kickstarter, Tao Long.
Yep.
Zach, explain what this game is.
It's a 2-player abstract strategy game where 2 people are like competing dragons. They're just trying to kill each other, like kill the bodies, like with fire and stuff. But it has like the main movement is this Moncala sort of action, and it looks.
So it's Genji and Hanzo.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. But please. But yeah, it looks pretty interesting.
It is currently funded significantly.
Yes.
Yeah, well, they're at like 150 on a 10K goal.
Yep.
And there's 24 days remaining.
Yeah, so there's plenty of time.
$17. It's pretty.
Yeah, for the retail game is just $17. Technically €17, but it rounds it. It's about the same.
$18, and then it's $29 American for the deluxe one. Which if I end up backing this, which I might because I do really like 2-player abstracts.
Yeah.
It comes with a really nice looking player mat. One of the game box has a magnetic closure, which I kind of like for smaller box games.
Yeah, the mat, instead of it being like cardboard fold out, it's like a neoprene sort of thing, like from Aliens, Legendary Encounters, Aliens and whatnot. I like the art design on it a lot too.
And all the pieces get upgraded to wood instead of cardboard.
Yes,
which is also it looks really nice. So if I back it, I will probably go ahead and jump up to that $29 tier and get that deluxe.
Yeah, it looks. The golden bundle looks pretty nice too, but that's also $100, and it's like that's a little too much.
Too much for that.
And I can't quite tell what extra stuff comes with it that makes it that much more interesting.
It comes with a 4-player expansion, an extra bag or a bag. Looks like some extra warp tiles that are golden, which are limited to just this. A wall print of the 2 dragons locked in battle, and then the folded one and the cardboard one.
That's why I'm assuming, because it has the everything that comes with deluxe edition. So you basically get 2 copies of the game, the 4-player expansion, and I don't know. I don't think it's quite worth the $100.
No, but it looks art design wise, this is great.
Yeah, I do really like the art. The board looks interesting. Like I want to play it.
Yes,
that kind of interesting. Not like that's interesting, by which I mean weird. No, I mean it actually looks cool.
And there's a variable setup too, like where you put the different warps and all that stuff. So,
yep.
How long? 24 days. You got plenty of time to look at it.
Correct. Next up, we got Myth Dark Frontier.
Already funded, 100K, 50K gold, 20 days remaining on that one. A little pricier, $100.
Yeah, it's $50 for just the game, and then $100 for basically the stretch goals and an exclusive hero and some.
And this is a follow-up to something?
Yeah, so there was a game that came, or there's a Kickstarter game that came out a little while ago that was Myth, and there were a lot of problems from just getting the games to people, and the rule book was pretty garbage, and just a lot of people just felt like the game was like it was really a letdown of a campaign, I guess.
Okay.
Because it promised a lot, and then when people got it, they're just like,
meh.
Yeah. Some people liked it, but it was just way too fiddly too, apparently.
All right.
So this one looks to be a lot simpler of a game in comparison, at least, and it seems to be more of a co-op defense sort of game.
It vaguely, looking over the Kickstarter for it, it kind of reminds me of Castle Panic. Like you've got like your central castle that you're trying to fight and defend, and monsters are going to be coming at you from around that town. And like as they do damage, you take pieces off of it, and so it gets weaker and weaker. One of the things that did sound really interesting is the gameplay. So everybody plays a hero that's like helping defend this town, and so you have a hand of like 5 cards, I think it was.
Yeah.
And you choose 3 of them and place them into like a day, an afternoon, and an evening time slot. And everybody does this. You do it for all the players and all the enemies on the board at the same time. Then you take like all of the day cards, you shuffle them up, and then flip them, so that it's like, all right, well, in this particular day, the monster moves first, and then player A, and then player B, and then a monster, and then player C. And I think that's kind of a cool thing. And then
it is, yeah.
Then you do that for the afternoon phase and then for the night phase. That seems pretty cool.
No, it does. And then also I like the main city you're protecting, Farin Rock. Mm-hmm. It comes with this miniature that's actually made up of 10 different miniatures that as damage is done to the city, you actually take part of those off, showing that it's taking more and more damage.
That's cool.
Which, I mean, like, Castle Panic does that. Like, it's cardboard, not a nice plastic mini like this.
Yes,
but,
exactly, yeah.
Walls get knocked down and things get damaged in Castle Panic.
No, yeah, definitely. But it looks interesting. I'm at least going to keep my eye on it. I just, the Crokinole board just funded, and that, $114, and I'm like, oh, God, that's yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I did, between this and Tao Long, I would do that.
This looks interesting, and I hope that I can convince somebody that I know to pick it up. But but at this point,
I'm done with the $100 miniature games.
Exactly, that's me. I don't feel like I get anywhere near enough out of them to justify those costs anymore.
Unless it's something Blood Bowl related.
Oh fuck.
Or I guess for me,
just constantly links me like, here's some miniature Kickstarters.
Yep.
That's gonna be a good Blood Bowl team.
So you can still use those even with the new rules and stuff?
You just can't play in official Games Workshop events without using Games Workshop models. But fuck Games Workshop events anyways.
Okay, There you go.
Correct.
Do you know if the Gen Con one is still going to be non-GameStop?
It's not hosted by Games Workshop unless they partner with them. It's hosted by a Blood Bowl podcast, I think.
Yeah. Shit.
That we probably listened to for many hours straight while driving there.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a Myth Dark Frontier.
That's it for Kickstarters.
That is indeed it for Kickstarters.
On to news.
So first up for news, for me, a big Uwe fan, one of the few Uwe games that I don't own is Bonanza, which was pretty much his first game. And it is coming out now with a 20-year edition, 20th anniversary edition. It's got some new artwork, a new type of bean, and the card backs are different. So it's kind of
I think it's just like a new edition of it, really. But you've never heard of that game, Jeff, at all?
I haven't.
So the interesting thing on that game is that when a card enters your hand, how the order of your hand is static. As in, when you play a card, it has to be from the end of it, and when you draw new cards, it has to be on the beginning of it, so to speak, like that. And you always have to basically cycle them out like that. Mm-hmm. It makes, and then there's a lot of trading in this game too, and you have a lot of I have this coffee bean. Does anybody want? Does anybody have any green beans to trade with it and stuff like that?
Yeah,
it's a pretty interesting enough game.
Yeah,
definitely on the lighter fare, but still has some. I'd want to say meat, but it's all bean related. So yeah,
it's protein.
It's protein. Yeah.
In other somewhat famous designer news, Rainier Knizia, who hasn't really done anything in a little while, is going to be partnering with Chaosium Inc., and they're going to release Con of Cons. It's set in Greg Stafford's mythic world of Glorantha, which is featured in RuneQuest and Glorantha the Gods War that we talked about in a previous Kickstarter segment, I don't know, a month or two ago.
Something like that.
So in this one, players are trying to raid cattle from a variety of locations, and each location is just a deck of cards, and you take the card from one of the locations and try and steal cattle, depending on, like, there's some battle mechanics and blocking and things like that. But that should have that's going to be showing up on Kickstarter tomorrow and scheduled release for October.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, for some reason I heard Con of Cons like CON.
Oh.
And then what you talking about? I was like,
is it competing conventions?
Yeah, but then I remember it's KHAN, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's right.
Why are the conventions stealing each other's cattle?
So yeah, I feel like it was just the other day I was talking to somebody about how I felt like Reiner Knizia hadn't done anything recently. So it's kind of interesting to see him having a new game come out shortly after talking about that. There's also a little bit more information coming out now about Flick 'em Up Dead of Winter edition. Essentially, it's supposed to, I guess, be pretty similar to Flick 'em Up. The same core concept. You're flicking
the same dexterity aspects to it.
Yeah, it's a dexterity game where you're flicking little bullet tokens at little standees, little wood standees, and trying to knock them down. Some of the art and game pictures they've shown, there's cards that have like move and attack written on them. And so early speculation is that those are how the zombies move, that you like put the card at the base of a zombie and it moves to the opposite end of the card or something like that.
Okay.
I'm curious. Nothing that I've seen looking over this says whether it's going to be that the zombies move totally independent, like if there's a mechanism to make it automatic, or in one of the board game threads I was reading about it, they were saying maybe there's a...
like a zombie overlord that's actually doing it?
Yeah, which I think could be kind of an interesting concept. The weirdest thing about this one for me is, if you are decently good at like a flicking style dexterity game, I feel like this would be an easy game for you to just massacre zombies.
Possible.
Because unless the zombies have some weird projectile thing of their own, which wouldn't make sense.
Maybe it's because it's a zombie. They're like just hordes of them. There's just too many of them, and then you can't hit them all in your turn, so you have to strategically retreat and
that
stuff
could
like that.
I don't know. So I'm going to keep an eye on it. I really like Dead of Winter, both the two base games. I haven't played Flick 'em Up though, so I don't know. But I'm a sucker for zombies.
That you are. I know the Carnival game, Zombie Carnival, whatever it's called. Do you know what Carnival Zombie?
Carnival of Zombie.
Yeah, that one. That Kickstarter is supposed to come out sometime this year, the second edition of it. So that one's like Dead Panic, but better. I've heard. I don't know. We'll see.
In some other news, looks like Dominion is back online again. It had been shut down. There was like a very commonly used online one that wasn't truly official, and that got taken down. And then Making Fun released Dominion Online that apparently sucked.
Yes,
It's too expensive.
It was too expensive, and it was just like I think like the artwork wasn't great, and it just was too fiddly and all that stuff.
Yeah. So Making Fun lost the license, and it was moved over to Shuffle IT. It looks like it's browser only, won't be mobile friendly. But, if you want to play it online, there's going to soon be another way to play Dominion online.
So the reason why it's not online friendly is that to look at the card, like you have to right click it, and you can't really do that on your phone that easily.
No.
And then, so the previous one, the previous iteration of this had like expansions that you could purchase, and that would unlock them. But apparently, this is going for like a subscription model or something like that, and it's like 2 levels. Like you can get half the expansions or something for a certain amount, and then all of them for even more. And that, for me, that just seems silly.
Or just pay nothing and not have to play Dominion.
Yep.
That's how I'm going to go with that.
Exactly. And then Mysterium and Potion Explosion are both expected sometime this month to have the actual versions release. Zach, you and I have been in on the Potion Explosion beta for a while.
It's good. I like it.
Yep. So that's one I'll look into picking up. I'm very curious how in the world they're going to do a Mysterium app. How that's going to work.
You just need 5 smartphones with 5 people, and you all play the same game. And that's way too complicated for anyone to friggin' do.
Maybe it's going to have like an AI that's just handling the cards out. And I don't know. It seems I feel the exact same that you do. That it's just like I don't understand how this can be an app, but we'll see.
Suburbia's got its official iOS app.
Well, so it used to be on iPad only.
iPad only, but now there's Android and iOS.
Yes.
Well, there's been Android for a while.
Has there?
Yeah, I've had the Suburbia on Android for
but tablet
months.
or regular?
Phone. It's right. It's
well,
on my phone
I think
right
most
now.
Android tablet stuff can run on phone because it's Android and better than iPhone. As I hold my iPhone,
as I
for
gaze
apps like
at
that.
my Galaxy.
But now I can play Suburbia on my iPhone, which is cool because I like Suburbia and I don't like the setup of Suburbia.
It's a good app.
It has like sort of a campaign sort of thing on it. Ooh, sweet. Yeah, I bought it on my iPad, so I can download it on this.
Yeah, it's cross-buy as well, so if you purchased it, it is now yours to enjoy.
Right.
So I won't talk that much more in the podcast right now. I'm just going to start
playing Suburbia.
Yeah, playing Suburbia.
One other quick thing. Charterstone information starting to get out there. That is Stonemaier Games' new legacy worker placement game that will be not a Kickstarter, not pre-order, straight up buy. And its legacy format is it's about 12 to 24 games. I don't think there's any set limit, but after 24 games, you have your own unique worker placement board that will be different from anyone else that's played the game. And then you just play that game from then on.
Now, does it have any sort of components you destroy or anything like that?
Not that I am aware of. But it is supposed to be a legacy game that changes, and that end version, when you compare and contrast to like other people that own the game, will be a totally different game.
So that for me, that always feels like it's just like a campaign, like a sort of campaign in a way.
Yeah.
That I feel like for it to be legacy, there needs to be some actual physical destruction.
It might.
Or like marker.
There are permanent building stickers.
There are permanent. Okay,
permanent stickers.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what really changes everything.
Okay, that's fine then.
Yeah, so in Charterstone, a competitive legacy game, you construct buildings and inhabit a shared village. Building stickers are permanently added to the game board and become action spaces for any player to use. Thus, you start off with simple choices and few workers, but soon you'll have a bustling village with dozens of possible actions. Your journey will last 12 games, but it doesn't end there. Your completed village will be a one-of-a-kind worker placement game with plenty of variability.
So that seems fun.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Hasn't gotten a release date, sometime in 2017. This is I guess their next big game after Scythe. They've had other games from that publisher, but this is going to be the big one, I think. 1
to 6 players, 45 to 60 minutes is what they're saying on Stonemaier's website for it.
I like me a good worker placement game.
So I do too. And that actually sounds really like one that could fit the legacy mechanic, the idea of like you starting with a small village and growing it into a big town. So
no, yeah, definitely.
Super intrigued. I'm going to be keeping a close eye on that.
There's a private Facebook group that you can go into where everyone asks when's the Kickstarter, and except there will be no Kickstarter every time.
Yeah. If you want it, sign up to their newsletter or
and then
talk to your retailer of choice.
And they will release when you can buy it, whenever that is.
Cool.
Yeah. Is that it for news?
I think that's it for news. That's all I got.
Okay.
All right. So we can move on into the review segment of this show. Just so you know, we are doing things a little bit different on this one. We decided that, for the most part, we've covered relatively big games.
Longer games.
Longer games that, take a fair amount of time to review on their own. However, one of the more popular questions that we see like on the board game subreddit and stuff is, what kind of 2-player game should I get, or, shorter games and things like that. So for this one, we're gonna start doing this occasionally, where we pick a few games that have something in common that are a little bit smaller and shorter and discuss all of them. So for this one, we decided to look at a few different 2-player games, abstract 2-player games in this case, that we've been playing, and kind of review the 3 of them, and then kind of compare and contrast and see how we feel about them.
Yeah.
So the 3 games we're going to be covering in this one, we're going to cover Santorini, which, although it's technically 2 to 4 players, it's best at 2, and the 4-player variants are variants that are only in the new Kickstarter edition. The original Santorini was just a 2-player game.
Well, yeah, and it didn't even have gods or anything like that.
Right.
So
we are also going to cover Patchwork by Uwe Rosenberg, and we're going to cover Druids by Grant Rodiak. And so we'll start off here with Santorini. Like I said, it's a new game that just came out on Kickstarter last year, 2016 release. Plays 2 to 4 players, but it's best at 2. Plays in about 20 minutes. Was designed by Gord and published by Roxley Games. So, Zach, you want to give us a rules breakdown of Santorini?
Yeah. So this abstract strategy game places you and your opponents as Greek gods commanding workers to build the city of Santorini. On your turn, you have 2 phases that you're going to do. Your first one is you're going to move one of your workers to an adjacent spot, orthogonal and diagonal, either or. And you have the ability to move up 1 level on your turn. You can move down as many as you want, but you can move up only once. You can move up only 1 level. Next, you're going to build on an adjacent area to your moved worker, and you can place down either a level 1, level 2, level 3, or a cap, depending on what is already there. You will win if your worker moves up to the level 3 spot on your turn, or if your opponent cannot make a valid move or build on their turn.
Okay. So Zach and I both picked this up on Kickstarter. It was, back in spring or whatever?
Spring, early summer, I think.
And then it just delivered in December.
Yeah, right before Christmas.
Yep. So. And this game is fantastic.
Yep.
Like that's
no burying the lead there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's really good. This was one like I jumped into the Kickstarter without really looking into the game at all. And so I got a little nervous the closer it got to like delivering, like, is this game actually going to be worth it? It started showing up on a lot of other podcasts and things like that, and people were saying really great things about it, and then we got it, and yeah, it looks great, it plays great, and I really like it.
We played it, and then immediately, like, I've never played this game just once. It's always like, if it's playing with 2 players, it's like, let's just play this 5 times real quick.
Yeah.
Or with 3 or 4 players, it's like, yeah, we'll play a couple rounds of this.
Yeah.
It's definitely 10 to 15 minutes, maybe 20. Like, we had one that lasted a long time, but I think that's going to be rare on this.
And that was a 3-player game, which I think is probably the player count where you're going to get the longest plays.
Yes.
Just because there's more builders on the map, there's more building going on, there's more opportunities to like block somebody from winning.
Yeah, because there are 3 people competing versus 2 people for 1v1, and then 4-player you work on teams. So it's still, and there's the same amount of workers as you said. So it's still 2v2 on that one. So
I like the 2-player.
Yeah.
I like the 3-player as well. I like the 2 and 3 almost as much, equally.
It gets a lot more chaotic on that 3-player one, and you get a lot more interesting
because you have 3 different gods.
You have 3. Yeah, there's there was one I had where I had to move because one of the gods was you have to move. Your opponents have to move up if they can, and another my other opponent had a card that was you can't build in an area adjacent to their workers unless it's to cap. And so I had to move into a spot where I literally could not build, and I was out of the game. And I was like, son of a bitch. But then I was also like, that's great how that worked to get, like, we didn't even think that was going to work together like that. So
Well, and then the game that we played the other day was kind of the same situation. You got forced to move, like, because you only had one space you could move to. You had to move there, and then that opened up a space for me to.
Well, and I had to build a level 3 because so I think that's one of the great strategies of the game is that you have to move and you have to build. So no matter what, at some point, if you build up and you're gonna be like, crap, I have to move in order to let this, like, I have to let this guy win because I can't not do it.
Yeah. And if you ever get to a position where you actually cannot do it, you lose.
Yeah, you lose.
So
there's a lot of thinking, a lot of chess-like doubts about yourself. It's I really like it.
So I guess we can go for your little breakdown of them real quick.
Yep. So components.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's what this game, like, you could easily make this game out of Legos if you wanted to.
Yep.
Or,
No problem.
coins or anything like that. It's
just a grid with like things that you can stack on each other.
Yeah, there's a reason why the MSRP is $50 or whatever, is because they put a lot into those components.
Yeah, the level 1s and the level 2s, the level 3s, they all fit real nice together.
It looks really beautiful when you have this huge like city that you're trying to move around in. And like the fact that they basically made it like a floating, an actual island where it's actually built up over the sea. Mm-hmm. That's purely aesthetic, but it looks amazing.
Yeah. I really like the way that looks with the little castle or the little cliff thing that raises it up, about 2.5, 3 inches off the table. It's also that part especially is completely superfluous.
Yes,
I think that they could have done just the board. The grid, and then still the awesome building components, the tower pieces and the caps, and it still would have looked fantastic.
It would look, and I think it just looks like just good enough that I'm like, I'm glad that they put that in there.
Yeah.
Otherwise the minis are pretty good.
I wish they would have chosen different colors.
Yeah.
The colors aren't the best.
It's like light blue, gray, and
white,
brown.
Well, the gray. Yeah. It's like supposed to be like a marble, and then I don't know, but it's
a little too samey on the colors.
So in the Kickstarter, it looked like the minis were bigger.
Yeah.
And apparently, when they were playtesting it, like they had smaller minis and bigger minis, and overwhelmingly people chose the smaller ones.
Huh.
And so that's the reason why they are smaller.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
I did not know that. They're, even if they're the smaller ones than what they look like, they don't seem small. They're a good size.
Yep.
The detail on them's pretty good. This isn't a mini game, so I'm not looking for like exquisite minis.
You need to know that if one of them's male and one of them's female, and you can.
Yeah.
So that's really all you need to know.
Because some of the gods need specific genders.
Yes, because some of those gods are crazy.
Yes.
The god cards, the card quality seems really good and solid.
And there's a lot of them.
Yeah. The Kickstarter edition that we have came with the Golden Fleece expansion.
Yep, which is not exclusive. It's just going to be sold
Timed
later
exclusive.
on. Yeah. Which is completely fine.
It's got a new variant that involves the Golden Fleece that I haven't gotten a chance to play yet, but I would like to.
Yeah.
It adds a couple extra minis so that you can play with different gods that require sometimes more or less minis.
Yeah.
Or certain gods require certain blind movement things that you can't tell where they are.
They get crazy. Like, so the first, it comes with basic ones, the first 10, and you're like, okay, these seem cool. Like, they add some other things. And then you get to the advanced ones, and you're like, oh.
I just have infinite movement.
This has infinite movement. This is, some of them, female ones can only do this. You have to move. Like, okay, that's...
Medusa can crush you.
Yeah, Medusa can just turn you into stone.
Into a level 1 building.
Isn't it Aphrodite wins if she gets, like, her players have to start on opposite sides?
Oh, that was Eros.
Eros has to start the male and female on opposite sides of the board, and if they're ever adjacent in the same level, then he wins.
Yes. But then looking at the Golden Fleece gods, it's like, what the fuck? Like, one of them has, like you said, the hidden board, that there's just a spot on their board. They're like, if someone moves into that spot,
you lose.
You lose. And Hades is still like my favorite, just theme wise. It's just once your opponent's workers move up, they can't move down again.
Yep.
So this talking about the god powers is kind of, we can move into gameplay here.
Yes.
And so one of the things I really like about this game is it's really easy to teach.
Yes,
to new players. Like, and even if you are concerned about the god powers adding, too much for like your first play, you can do a really fast, just base version. Like, all right, here's really the minis. You move and you build, and that's it. And you're trying to get to where at some point you move from tier 2 to tier 3, and that's how you win. And so you could play a real fast game to teach somebody without the powers. Then be like, all right, you got it. Well, let's play another one. Now we're going to add in this little twist where now you have a unique ability, and then you can just ramp it up from there, getting into some of those more ridiculous god powers. And the cool thing that does is there is a ton of variability in the gameplay without it being like random and obnoxious.
Well, yeah, because the god powers are so unique that we played 5 different games, but because we had different gods in each of them, it felt vastly different. And the cards themselves, like, they're it's all iconography because they're printing in multiple languages and all that stuff. But the rules, I know we talking about the rule book. It's just a 3-page thing, but it tells you everything you really need to know. The only time we've had to go outside of it, it's like, okay, well, we have these specific. We're playing 3-player. We have these 2 gods. How do they interact with each other? For the third person, like, it's only in specific situations like that where you're just like, you just sort of have to interpret things. But other than except for those rare instances. The rules are just like, oh, he does this. Okay, well, if it doesn't say anything specific about this, that it just means always.
Yeah. So. Which, moving on then, if we're going to do rules and rule explanation, now the other thing I really like in the rules, you can tell they've play tested this game a lot because, especially as you move into those advanced gods, they have ones where they're like, this god, you don't play with any of these other 4 gods because one of the set is drastically unbalanced.
Yeah. Like Hades and Pan. If you're playing with Hades, Pan is banned because you literally can't use Pan's ability because his is all about jumping off 2 levels. But Hades is, they can't jump off. So they just for the Golden Fleece gods, they're like, okay, this is banned here and here. This is banned here. And then they also have a bunch of gods that are like, this one only works with 2 or 4 players. This one works with 2, 3, or 4. This is only 2 players and stuff like that. So
yeah, and so the rule book does a great job, and it goes through all the gods. Like, I don't know if I'm curious with the retail set that eventually comes out here, if it's going to have the same rule book to where you get a preview of the...
I would imagine it would.
Of the gods from Golden Fleets and everything. I don't see why they would print different copies of them. So... when you get this, you'll be able to look and see all the different god powers. You'll be able to see all the different rule sets. And, it's a simple enough game that with all those different gods and variations, it's just a big 3-fold sheet. Like it's amazing how well they condense those rules while still keeping them incredibly informative. And
they tell you exactly what you need to know, but like they don't need nothing else.
Yep. So artwork, touch on that real quick. I really like it.
It's chibi, kind of.
Yeah, but I think it works. I think it works a lot.
Not
it
too
actually
chibi.
works. As somebody who hates chibis, this one doesn't bother me. Like, yeah, they do have the little bit bigger heads, but something about the way the artwork and the theme, the Greek gods, and they made them look vaguely childish, which kind of, I think, fits the idea that they're romping around Santorini, building towers and knocking them down and just trying to, get higher than the other guy.
Yeah. The Kickstarter exclusive, or the Kickstarter also came with a little kids book that you would that you could read about the first game of it, like sort of setting the scene for it.
Okay.
Rhyming and everything like that. It's pretty interesting.
Huh.
Yeah.
Santorini.
So final thoughts. I love it.
It's a good thinking game.
Yeah.
It's real quick. It's real easy to just set up another one because you can just dump that fucking board off. Like, oh, you won? Fuck you. That's right.
Yeah, that feels nice of just taking your hand and like, let's just wipe this clean.
Yep.
My favorite god that we've played, no matter what, is always Atlas, because his ability is, instead of, usually you have to cap it completely. You get level 3 and then a cap. He can cap at any level. So I'm just like, shut it down.
Yep.
Shut it down. Shut it down.
You're trapped behind a wall of caps now.
Yeah.
I was playing as, do you remember the name of the guy I was playing the other day? The guy who can hold all the...
Morpheus?
Morpheus, yeah. So Morpheus is interesting. Instead of on your turn moving and then building, at the start of your turn, you take a building piece and put it on your card. And then for your build phase, you can play any number of ones off of your card, including 0. So, like, you just spent the first, few turns of the game just moving around, jumping up on towers that other people built, just building up a big pile until eventually it was like, all right, here's 2 whole towers and a step up to them.
As I said when we were playing, I'm just imagining he's just walking around and then he just vomits out a wall like a city block of just.
Well, it is Greek gods.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cattle involved.
Yeah, and one thing I also like about playing with 3 players is if, like, Jeff, if your next move you can win. And I'm like, I could fix that. But Adrian's also nearby. I'll let him deal with that. I'm going to go do my own stuff. And then Adrian's just like,
I'm going to delay.
Son of a bitch. Fine.
Yeah. It's like, you know what? I'm just going to let him win. Fuck you.
And I've played it at least 5 or 6 times now. And only once has I seen a situation where it's like, okay, I either stop you or I stop you. Like king making.
Yeah. So that was our game.
Well, that one I couldn't do anything for yours. I don't think I could really touch either of you guys. I was in the center. And
I thought like a turn before that, like you could have stopped Paul at one point, but you didn't.
Yeah. I guess I didn't realize he could have done it as well. But yeah,
Gotcha.
it's like you're not going to see it as often as you think
now
with 3 players.
Yeah, so. But really this game should be played the most at 2. Like you can occasionally play 3 or 4, but mostly you should be playing it at 2, so king making wouldn't even be an issue then.
And I think the only thing that could scare people off of this game is the price point.
Yeah.
It's definitely worth it, but it's a quick game for $50.
When I saw on Cool Stuff it was $33.
Yeah.
But that's also because it doesn't have the expansion or anything like that. But it's definitely worth picking. If it looks interesting to you, unless you're really hurting for money, you should definitely pick it up.
Yeah, and so we all like it and highly recommend it, which means for cost and availability, like we said, it's $50.
Comes out at the end of January, right?
End of March. Well, so on Amazon, it says it'll be in stock March 31st.
Amazon.
You might be able to find it other places sooner. And then, it'll obviously get probably a little bit cheaper. The $49.99 is the MSRP. So after it's been out for a little while and is available, you can expect that to probably drop a bit.
So February is what it's showing for on Cool Stuff. So
okay, so not too far
a couple
off.
months.
Yep,
definitely something you should keep your eye out for. Basically,
correct. So all right, moving on to the next of our little 2-player reviews, we've got Patchwork. This was released in 2014. It is a strict 2-player game that plays in about 15 to 30 minutes. Was designed by Uwe Rosenberg and was published here in the States by Mayfair Games. Zach, you want to run through the rules on that one?
So this 2-player abstract game has you and your opponent each building the best quilt. On your turn, you will pick one of 3 tile pieces, and if you can afford it, buy one and place it on your board. You will then move your marker on the common board a number of spaces equal to the time cost of the purchased tile. Whoever's marker is farthest from the end of the track will then take their turn, meaning that you could go multiple times. Every time you pass a button on the track, you will then earn buttons equal to the amount that are on your personal board. If you cannot buy a tile, you must move your marker to one space past your opponent, gaining buttons equal to the amount of spaces that you moved. At the end of the game, you're going to add your button supply, subtract any empty spaces from your board, and then whoever has the highest score is the winner.
Yep. So one of the interesting things about this game is with that final scoring and the way it works. I have seen games where like the winning score is like 2 to -5. Like you can have very low scoring games in this depending on how many, open spaces are left on your board at the end of the game, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah, and I've also seen like 40 to 28 too.
Yeah.
So it's the highest that I've ever gotten on the app, and that's playing in an AI that's easy enough to predict, was still 50. Like 51 maybe, but usually it's in the 30 to 20 range for a decently high score.
Yeah. So I don't know, Jeff, initial thoughts here?
I really like it. It's a good game.
Yeah.
I like the tile placement. I like the strategizing about the time factor that you need about choosing pieces versus how useful they're going to be, where they're going to fit. The fuck you, don't take that piece in my brain quietly while staring at the board.
Yeah, because a lot of these polynominos.
It's like dominoes, but poly.
Yeah, I really thought. Yeah, I was like, I'll use this big word. Then I fucked it up. Shit. But yeah, they have a bunch of different costs on them, whether it's time or buttons, and it's like if they're big, they're usually heavy in one of them, and like I like how like early game you're like, I don't really give a shit about time. I just want to get reoccurring buttons as early as I can.
Build your economy.
Yeah, and then halfway through, you're like, oh, I need to start filling up all these empty spaces. And then at the end of the game, you're just like, fucking, I need all those small time ones. I'll spend all this money just to be able to fill up those spaces. I like, and it's figuring out when to make the switch is the big hurdle for a lot of people, I think.
Yeah.
And then also, I like that even though there's a lot of, there's a decent amount of decisions, it's on your turn, you can only pick one of 3, and it's based on where the marker was based on what your opponent bought last time. So looking at those 3, you're like, oh, I could get this one, but then if I get that farthest one, it means your opponent can get the one that I don't want him to get, so I'll get this one that's slightly worse for me, just so he can't get that one.
Yeah, it's really satisfying occasionally when you can chain it out to where it's like, well, if I take the one that's 3 away, I move 1 time slot, and your opponent's like 4 or 5 ahead of you, and you're like, well, I can move 1 time slot, and then I can move like 2 further and get like another one, and you can pick up like 3 or 4 and move like halfway around the circle, and skip a bunch of really good ones that your opponent might have been gunning for. So, moving on to our categories here, components, they're really good.
Yeah, they're fine. The buttons are just, the buttons are cardboard buttons, but they work.
Yeah.
The tiles are cardboard tiles, but they work. They fit together well.
I like that the quilts end up looking like quilts.
They do,
yes. As you fill on the board.
The artwork on it is really tied to the theme for that, I think.
The one complaint I have with the components is on the time track board. I pretty much always play with so it's reversible. There's a square and there's a spiral one.
The spiral's ugly.
The spiral one's really ugly. So I almost always play with the square one. But the problem I have with that one is I feel like the lines aren't super distinct enough. So there's been times I've been playing and realized that we kept going straight when we were supposed to turn. And so I wish that the borders of that, because it's still a spiral, it's just a square spiral rather than a circle spiral. And so I kind of wish that it had been a little bit more distinct as to like where it turns and where it doesn't. But otherwise, I mean, that's really my only complaint component wise.
I wish the markers weren't just generic wood markers. Maybe, I don't know.
I'm
like
fine
I said,
with it.
I don't really have many complaints on the game. That's literally the only thing I'm like, this could look a little bit better. Like everything else has everything has some sort of nice artwork on it, and you look at that and you're like, it's
good
fun.
style.
Yeah. One thing we didn't mention too is that when you pass certain parts, there are one by one patches that if you're the first person to patch them, you get to
pick it up.
You get to pick them up, and it's really nice to be able to be like, I'm going. This piece would fit perfectly here, but there's just one extra spot, and you're like, okay, well now I just have to make sure I get one of those, and then that's fine.
Yeah, those can be a little confusing your first time playing. If it's like 2 new people, I could see, like, because I remember this when I first played.
Yeah.
There was a big debate about whether they were spots, because the square that takes up is about the same square as a normal spot on the board, but it kind of straddles 2 regular spots. And the rules are a little bit vague as to whether you stop there and take it or whether you go past it. And so there's some debate about whether that was a spot. For those of you listening, it's not.
No, that was one nice thing. I remember we were trying to figure it out, and then I ended up getting the app for it.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, no, you totally just passed by it. So it's definitely, like, rules-wise, it could have been a little better explained.
Yep.
A UA Rosenberg game that needed a little bit better explained rules.
I know, shocking, right?
Almost unheard of. Speaking of the rules, this is another one. The rule sheet is just a really simple little, like, 2-page fold rule thing. There's not a lot there.
Yeah.
Don't need much to this one.
Yeah, this is also one that's pretty easy to teach somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Usually when you play against someone, like, every time I teach someone a new game, like, there'll be a couple times I'm like, okay, you should probably get that one over that just because you don't, I've played this enough that I can look at some of these pieces. I'm like, that one's objectively the best one there, even if it may not look like it. And so there's just a little bit of handholding in the sense of, like, you might want to get that one or something like that. But it's also, I also really like the once you buy something and you put it on your board, it's like, and I really like it in the app. The app actually shows it being, like, stitched in.
Yeah.
It's locked in.
Yeah. So, but once you move it up, put it on your board, and you're like, okay, it's good. You can't move it anymore. So I've had it 1 or 2 times where it's just like, oh, fuck, I should have put it the other way.
Man, one space over. That's really frustrating when you get to the end and you're like 10 spaces from the end, and then you realize that, like,
Nothing fits.
nothing that's left on the board fits. And so it's like, oh, well, I guess I just move 10 spaces and get 10 coins and my turn's done. I like that there's a final scoring right before you move into that end, so that, it gives you at least some points right there at the end to hopefully counteract the couple of holes. I almost always have a few holes. I don't fill my board very regularly, whereas Zach, like, weekly sends me a screenshot of a completely full board.
Like I said, on the app, it is so much easier to do that. But I don't think I've done it yet. I've had a couple 1 spaces left playing with somebody, but usually it's still because the app is always going to make the best decision for itself. It's never going to go, fuck you, I don't want you to get that.
Yeah. There's not enough personal spite in the app.
There's no vendetta in there.
Yeah.
Which, we keep mentioning the app. This is another one. Most of the games we talk about don't have app implementations because they're a little bit bigger. Mm-hmm. This one does have an app, and it is a fantastic
It's one of the
app.
best ones.
It's available on both iTunes and Android. And
crossplay, too. You just got to get their names and be like, hey, you want to play?
Yep. So you have no excuse not to own the Patchwork app.
Yeah.
It's really
been
good.
free or $1.
It's like $3
times.
right now, I think, like normal price, which is a great price for it, I think.
Right.
So I'm assuming you're not on, Android and have $50 worth of Google rewards.
I wish they would give me that many rewards or surveys. So we did components, did art, did rules.
Yeah, it's a
game.
It's a great game.
Availability, it is widely available.
Yep.
You can find it pretty much anywhere.
20-ish, $22, $23.
It's pretty. I know this for the longest time. This was my favorite 2-player game.
Until Star Wars Rebellion came into it.
Favorite shortest 2-player game because every time I've taught it to someone, they're like, "Oh, sweet! Now I understand this. Can we play again?"
Yeah.
Knowing the actual strategy of the game, it's like I said, it's really easy to teach, and I always feel involved in it, and I feel like there's a good amount of decisions making in there, and it's like I said, it's an engine building game, even if you're just building one part. It's still. I like those decisions.
One other very minor nitpick for me, as somebody who likes to travel with games, this game, it comes in a nice small box. I didn't blow up the box or anything like that, but the way you make
a lot of space.
Big circle of all of the possible patchwork pieces. When you first start the game, it takes up a lot of space. Now, it does rapidly shrink down, but
just have a giant track.
I still take it a lot, like when Megan and I go off on little adventures, because you can play it really easy, like in pretty much any bar. Like, I mean, it's not big that you need a big table. Like, as long as you have a table, you should be good. But it's not one that we can play like in the tent when we're camping.
Right.
Like, it's a small, light game that I'd love to be able to just throw in my backpack, but it's not feasible to really play in a situation like that, unfortunately.
A foldable table to put in the tent.
Yeah. So, but again, that's a super minor complaint that's very niche. Like if you're somebody who's really concerned about being able to take this game backpacking into the woods, that's not going to work out so well.
No, that's how we should do all of our reviews.
Just assume somebody wants to play it in the woods.
Star Wars Rebellion. How well does it work on a picnic table in the woods?
Picnic table, it might work okay. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
It's got the big board. Everything goes on. Anyway, we're not talking about that game. So yeah, final thoughts. I really like Patchwork. It's a great game. I really like it too. Great app.
It was my favorite two-player. Like I said, it was my favorite two-player abstract for a long time.
It is the number 1 ranked abstract on BGG.
Yeah,
so.
Santorini, I think, is 11 right now, and it is climbing. Or is it 7?
Santorini is 11 in abstract.
Yeah, and it's definitely going to be climbing.
Yeah.
When it becomes enough available.
Yes.
Yep. So moving on to the third of our little trifecta here, we have Druids. Druids is a 2016 release from designer Grant Rodiak and was published by Hyperbole Games, which is his game company. It plays 2 players only and plays in about 10 to 20 minutes. So, Zach, you want to give us a quick rules rundown on Druids?
Yeah. So players are going to be directing their Druids using a unique movement mechanism in which they can go in any orthogonal direction except the one that they're facing. If the Druids pick up unique animal stones, which are face down, the Druids are going to gain new ways to move. Finally, players must manipulate the earth themselves by moving the mountains, rivers, forests, and cloud tokens to gain the upper hand. If your Druid makes it to your opponent's temple with a stone, or you capture all of your opponent's Druids, you win.
Yeah,
it's a simple explanation for a game that is really intense.
Yes. So of the 3 games, I think this one in a lot of ways feels the deepest for me.
It definitely feels the heaviest in terms of how to plan your stuff away. I think a lot of it comes down to that movement.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh, okay, if I move here...
But then I can't move forward.
But then I can't move forward, and then I have to move to direct. Oh, God, but then his Druid can catch me. So I have to move this other guy, but then I need to move...
You just capture Druids just by landing on them. It's like checkers rules. Mm-hmm. Well, not jumping over. Whatever. Chess rules?
Chess rules, sure.
The stone movement things are really cool because it's like... Because you can't move diagonally. But the 2 stones let you move diagonally or 2 spaces or whatever.
And so that's the base ones. And so you're going to have 4 cards at the beginning that are like represent the animal stones, but all the stones that start face down, so you don't know which one you're getting. So
only 3 of the 4 start on the board.
Yes.
So there's always a little bit of
there'll only be 3 on there at any time. And so when your opponent grabs one and looks at it, now you're like, no, fuck. Well, if he has a diagonal one, I can't get anywhere near that piece.
Yep.
But then if it's the diagonal 2, you'd be fine, but you don't know that. So maybe you try and be like, I'm going to get close to it. And then it's the diagonal 2. And he's like, aha, you're 2 away. I'm going to capture you. And you're like, fuck.
Yep.
Yeah. There's definitely some nice, so components. This one, I guess before we go into those, I want to state for this one is a little bit of a unique situation. This one was a Kickstarter only currently.
Currently being the operative word, hopefully.
Yeah. So... I came across it. It looked really cool. It's made out of awesome, laser cut wood.
So the guy who made it, he's the one that worked on Cry Havoc?
Yes. So he was one of the main designers for Cry Havoc. And he did this Kickstarter because he had this kind of cool idea for this game and worked with a local woodcutter and made it all here in the States. And it was like a hard limit on the quantities. He ended up adding a second tier. It sold out in the first tier and enough people wanted a second tier. He added a second late shipping, which I don't think has shipped yet. But he is actively looking for a publisher to pick this up and mass produce it.
That's the main reason why we were actually when we were wanting to do these 2-player ones, we're like, well, we could do Druids, but it's Kickstarter only. And then you ended up talking to him, and he's just like, oh yeah, I'm going to try and I'm like, okay, that's good enough for us.
Yeah. So I reached out to him, and he said that he's very actively looking for a publisher, and he hopes it gets picked up. And he seemed like that's something he's really working towards. So I have hope that this game will eventually be widely available because it is a really good game. So just know that as especially here going into the components section, I don't know if the final published version will be the wood cut one
Right.
like this. You know,
Or if it's wood, it could be, you know, more generic wood versus the laser cut wood and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So
So for the version that we have, though, the components are really nice. I like the like terrain tiles are really good, thick pieces that stand up and are distinct.
I do like those. Yeah.
The druid pieces themselves,
They're arrows.
they're thin little triangles with
Yeah.
a circle cut in them for the stones.
And then you know, they just basically have a different what is it
Stain.
called? Stain. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the normal one and then a darker
laser,
one. Yeah.
laser cut stain on there.
Yeah. So the druids could be a little bit better.
I don't like the box that it comes in.
No, I'm gonna definitely custom a box up. Like, I like the idea of it, and it looks kind of cool, like sitting on the shelf. But
It's a wood game made out of wood.
Yeah.
I don't like transporting it because I'm really worried that like,
Yeah.
if somebody looks at that box wrong, it's gonna just get crushed.
Not to mention you also have your blood on that too. So
Yes, putting
they
it
can
together.
frame you for murder.
Putting it together, I cut myself, and so that box was literally assembled with blood and sweat. No tears though.
Because you're dead inside.
Because I am dead inside. So, but one of the things I really like on this wooden version, and I hope that maybe if they do mass produce it, like they find a way to do it still with wood, because moving the druids, like the way you turn to face the direction you move, and that wood sliding on wood for me is just such an awesome, like tactile.
I always just picked it
experience.
up and-
Oh, I don't. I slide them unless I have to pick it up because I'm at like a seam on the board or like moving onto a stone or something. I do a little slide turn and that wood on wood just like. I don't know why I love it. I like it a lot. The art, like the laser cut etchings of the symbols and stuff are really good. Everything's really clear.
Yeah.
Once it's another one's got some iconography. But once you know what it is, it's clear, at least on the components.
For whatever reason, I was hoping that the cards were like really thin cut wood. I think it's also just how it's colored. And so I picked it up and I'm like, oh, it's just a card though.
The color of the cards matches the board almost exactly.
So well, that's based off of somebody made an entire copy of Settlers Catan out of 1 2x4 or 1 4x4, and so they made the cards out of wood, and so it had that same sort of look to it. I was like, oh, did they do that? Oh no, they just did a regular card.
So component wise, that's probably like the cards themselves are fine. Like
Yeah.
they're relatively thin, simple card stock. The rule book is just a printed off computer sheet that's folded up.
It reminded me of Mag Blasts.
Yes.
So
Bring your magnifying glass to read the text.
Yeah.
So that's definitely the one of the main downsides there. Component wise, it was definitely part of doing this as inexpensively as possible.
Yeah.
Since he was having it all made here in town and done by himself.
Here's a good game idea. Here's how to make that physical.
Yeah.
Yeah. Moving on, artwork, there's not really a lot of art. There's a little bit of laser etching and stuff. Like I said, it looks good, I
I mean,
think.
mountains look like mountains.
Yeah.
I like the on the animal cards and on the little stone tokens that the animals are on. The design of the animals is kind of cool, like the butterfly, the turtle.
Well, it's easy. Like you see it and you're like, that's a butterfly. There's no confusion about it.
There's no
that's what's great
ambiguity.
about it.
But there's really not a lot of art to discuss for this
Not really,
one.
no.
It's all gameplay.
It's
Yep.
definitely the most abstract out of them.
Yes.
Yes.
Like we're in a forest or something.
Yeah, I didn't. That's why I didn't include. You and your guys are druids who are. I don't know what we're doing. So I was just like,
Yeah. So gameplay, it's really good. You have 3 druids on each, and it's this one feels the most like chess of any of them. Like you're really trying to outmaneuver and like okay, if I move here, he can do this or he can do that. And then, like you said, Zach, like he gets a stone, and all of a sudden you're like, well, shit, now maybe he can move diagonal. Maybe he can jump 2 spaces forward. Like, what can he do? Like, and that trying to maneuver around and then moving terrain around. Like, oh, I'm going to put a mountain here, so now you can't turn to the left. So you're like blocked into that little section there.
Yeah, because the terrain is important. Because you can teleport between clouds. You can't be captured if you're on a forest. You can't move through mountains.
You can't cross a mountain, period.
Yeah, you can't cross it.
can't
And
do
then
anything.
rivers,
just like a boost.
Yeah, it's a
It'll
boost.
just like
Like an oil slick is how I
Yeah.
imagine it. Like
Yeah.
you
Oh,
just
yeah.
keep going the direction you are moving.
and moving those is super important.
Yeah.
Yep. And then I remember a lot of times it was like, because there's 2 spots for each of them on opposite sides. I'd be like, I'm going to move the cloud here, and then Jeff would be like, I'm going to move it back.
I'm going to move that cloud not there.
Yeah, and we're just like, oh, there's a lot. So one thing that I did notice too, out of these three, so like with Patchwork and Santorini, there was still a bit of like talk and chatter while playing. Where me and Jeff, when we were playing this, dead silent. Wesley came by and he was just like, "What are you guys doing?" And we're like, "We're playing Druids." And then just
yeah,
because like you said, it's the most chess like it's the one you have to put most of your brain focus on. You're like, oh god, this and this.
But it's super fun.
It was enjoyable. Yeah.
So there's two ways to win, right? So you can move your druid with a stone onto their piece, or you can capture all of theirs. Which it's interesting to me. I have now in 2 different games had the same thing happen where one player captured all but one of the other players. So it was like down to 3-1 druids, and then that one druid somehow gets a stone and gets to the base and wins.
Really?
3 or 2 times that's happened to me. Like one time I did it, and the other time it happened to me. Like the first time I played with Megan, like I was well on my way to beating her, and then like she got down to her last druid, and she was sitting there looking at the board, and all of a sudden she goes, moves, and like the little thing over there, and I'm like, you're gonna win on the next turn. I can't do anything about it.
Me and Jeff, we went heavy into killing.
Yeah. So we did the map setup just kind of like whatever, and then I accidentally locked one of my pieces behind a mountain in a corner because we didn't realize. Like, let's just set up whatever. And then I was like, if I move that way, I can't move that way again, and if I move that way, I can't move that way again. And so I was just locked in a corner until I could actually move the mountain out of the way.
Yep.
I won a game that way. I trapped somebody's druid behind a mountain like that. And it's like, well, now your druid can't get out, so I can just leisurely pick up a stone and walk it to your base.
He ended up capturing one of my guys super early on.
With my guy still locked behind a fucking mountain.
And then I ended up getting in a position where I captured 2 of his really quickly. And at least one of them was...
No, you captured 1, and then my last 2 were pretty much locked in, where I was like, I'm screwed.
Right, yeah.
And then we called it.
Yeah.
I conceded.
Yeah. Rules. The basic rules are simple. Like I said, the rule book is a sheet of paper right now.
Yeah.
If it actually gets published, it'll actually have a real rule book, I'm sure. But the rules, I think, are pretty straightforward. It does a nice job on the sheet of listing, like, this behaves like exactly this way. Like you can't do this with that stone. Like, so some of those things, like where I'd have a question, I'd immediately look and like it was answered there on the sheet. So I feel like there was a good amount of play testing put into it, and like, things work. I haven't had any trouble really teaching it to new players. The movement thing kind of takes a little bit to get used to, but
a little bit,
but not too bad. And then once you start doing it, like it just kind of becomes almost second nature. Like just, all right, whichever way I'm facing, I turn a different direction.
There were a couple times though, like in the beginning, where like, okay, I want to move here, and then I'm gonna, I can't move there. Okay, let's
I'm gonna snake my way slowly across the board.
And I know at least for me and Jeff, we had only played with the base ones, so we hadn't had a chance to really try out the more complicated ones.
Now, some of those get really interesting, like the snake, where you just move in a straight line until you hit either the edge of the board, a mountain, or another druid. They can just be like, I'm here, and now I'm all the way over there.
Yeah, it seems like some of those advanced cards can be real, like, fuck you.
Yeah, it's real, like, you definitely have those moments where you're just like, you have a stone, and then you're like moving towards their temple, and then you're like, but if I go this way, I can just capture one of their guys, because, using the stone means you lose it.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of times like, I remember one time I was like, in order to not get captured, I have to use the stone to just get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And so it always hurts a little bit when you do that, but you're like, you got to do it. So.
Yep. It's real frustrating when you don't have any stones and your opponent has all 3. I've had that happen.
We did not have that, luckily.
Nope.
I've had that happen, and
just like, I don't want to go next to anybody.
Yeah. God.
Did Megan win that one?
That wasn't one of the ones where I played with Megan. No, Megan was one of the ones. She was the one who beat me when I had her down to just 1, and she sneakily got a stone onto my base. And then I beat her the second time we played. But we played a couple times of this when I was visiting her in Seattle. We played it immediately after Santorini. And Megan actually prefers Druids. She really likes Druids. And I do too. I think it's a great game. So I guess, final thoughts. I think it's a great game.
It was a good game. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
It would be an easy game for you to be able to kind of make your own. Play.
Yeah, that's another thing. that it would be really easy to just make a board, make some, just like on a piece of paper, draw it, and then you just get some things, and you could easily like Santorini, it's something you could easily recreate.
General tokens.
Yeah, he actually Grant Rudick, he has on BGG, he uploaded the print and play files. So if this game sounds interesting and you want to play it, go print and play it, and then you just need a handful of tokens to represent the different things, and you're good to go.
Yep.
And then hopefully, it gets picked up. So, and if it does, we'll absolutely let you guys know. But so availability, unfortunately, right now it is
print and play.
It's not available at all. Like it's not even listed on eBay. So nothing. But yeah, so those are our 3 games. Overall, I like 2-player abstracts. They have a very specific space on my shelf.
Right.
They're great. Megan and I love playing board games together, and so having some cool little 2-player abstracts where you can kind of go head to head without getting quite so like directly fuck you-ish that some games get.
Right.
It's more of a battle of wits. Yeah. And we're close to evenly matched. I definitely not quite there. She beats me handily at most of these games. But it's a lot of fun, and that just makes it more satisfying when I do win. I think that for me, it's hard for me to decide which one I like the most.
Okay. So I have a couple questions then.
Yes.
Okay, so first of all, which one do you think has the best components?
So it's definitely Santorini has,
it could be your favorite components too.
Yeah,
that's fine.
So I think so Santorini has the whole weight of an actual, full-on publisher.
Yes.
Their components are really good. For me, though, I prefer my copy of Druids. I like the wooden board and the wooden pieces. I like I said, the tactile sensation of moving the Druids along the board. It smells fantastic because it smells like nice cut wood. I don't know. I really like that. It's the only board game I own where I'm like, this smells nice.
What about you, Jeff?
Santorini.
All right. So Santorini has the best components. Okay. So
maybe most components.
Yeah. Yes.
It definitely has the most components.
Which one do you think is the easiest to teach?
Santorini.
All right. So 2-0-0
with a close Druids behind that.
Yes. Yeah. Which one do you think offers the deepest gameplay?
Druids.
Define deep. Most choice.
See, I think
most agonizing.
Santorini is the broadest because there are so many different god powers.
So I'm gonna go ahead and say I'm saying Druids as well.
Yeah.
But it feels like there's a lot more weight to the things that you're like. It felt each move felt more crucial.
Yeah. I have definitely felt that in Patchwork, but I think probably Druids is probably the most agonizing.
Right.
If we're gonna I'm gonna use that word.
Gotcha. Okay.
Which one is most agonizing?
Yeah.
Druids.
Which one do you think has the best implementation of using Greek gods?
Patchwork, clearly.
Druids.
Right.
There was Greek Druids, right? Right?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Andrew, get back to us on that.
Which one do you think had the best rules? Or like not even so much the easiest to teach, but just like it just felt the smoothest in its gameplay, I guess.
Santorini.
Probably Santorini. They're really all, I think, as far as rules go, pretty smooth though. Like none of them have any really obscure, awkward rules. Like everything makes sense with the theme and the mechanics that are in those games. Yep. I probably would say Patchwork.
I would say Patchwork
just
too.
because Druids has all the different gods that are all different and have different rule sets and variabilities. And Santorini has all the god powers. Druids has the different animal stones and the terrain movement and stuff that
it's probably a byproduct of it just being like it doesn't have a lot of variability in that respect of each player is the same.
Yeah.
Like pretty much all the variability is the setup. Yeah. Like once that setup comes up, then that's it. But yeah, I would still say that Patchwork for me for that.
So to throw a question back at you.
Okay.
Which one is the most and which one is the least random?
I guess. Oh, in what respect?
So I, as a Euro gamer, dislike randomness.
No, I understand that
can affect a game.
Then I would say Druids has the most in the sense that the
stone tokens.
The stone tokens. I would say so literally it just becomes like after the setup, Santorini and Patchwork have none because gods. You know what gods can always do. And Patchwork, once that thing is set up, it is all about playing that, and you're like, there's nothing that the board can randomize. Whereas Druids, you're swapping those things and you're putting there, so you're not going to know what's there until you go there.
So I actually hadn't
practically Ameritrash.
Practically, yes.
I actually hadn't.
I'm surprised you don't fucking roll dice.
I hadn't thought of that fact that in Druids there's a little bit of continual randomness because it is really small.
Yeah.
I was thinking like for ones that affect, I think overall like.
Are you talking about variability then?
Maybe. Patchwork is the one where I feel like there are times when, especially when I'm playing somebody who I think is evenly matched, that being first or second, depending on how the tiles are laid out, if you're evenly matched and people make good moves, you can sometimes lose that game before you even start.
Yeah. No, I can understand that. And I think that's just because of the variable setup and because it's not random at all after the variable setup, that variable setup means a lot.
Yeah.
And there are some ways that you can try and force that, whereas like sometimes you'll pass just to make them take it to try and get out of that loop in a way. But yeah, I can see what you're talking about. But for me, I feel like that's manageable enough, I guess I could say.
There's really no randomness in Santorini.
Nope.
Period.
Pretty much it's just the gods that you get at the beginning.
And that's only if you choose to deal them randomly. Like the rules say to pick.
Yeah, no, I don't like that idea. No. Because it literally just says, out of all the gods, have somebody pick 2, and then your opponent picks the first, like out of those 2, which one they would rather have. That doesn't sound as fun to me. I like the idea of like 5, and you're like, out of these 5 or whatever. However,
I think that's just a good way to narrow it down because
Exactly.
there's just so many. You don't want to have to sit there and thumb through the whole deck. So throw out 5 random ones and then pick one of those. But it's barely random.
Yeah, exactly.
And if somebody has played a lot, they know the gods, and they're like, I really want to play these. Like, I think these 2 gods are well matched.
Right.
We should play those 2. Then I'll do that.
Gotcha.
Like, all right, well, we can play those 2, but I got to pick which one I want first.
We're going to play the 2 with infinite movement.
Yes. That was a ridiculously amazing match. Oh, I still love my one with Poseidon and Ares, where Poseidon, the unmoved worker, like builds a bunch, and then Ares, their unmoved worker, just destroys stuff. And it was really interesting to see. But which one do you think is the best value?
Patchwork. Patchwork's.
How much was Druids?
Druids was $50.
Okay, Patchwork.
Yeah,
and I'm guessing I'm assuming that's mainly just because of the economies of scale that he was just making this.
It was a relatively small run of them from an actual wood shop in the States, that has to follow minimum wage and working condition laws and stuff.
Assholes.
And I mean,
I don't know which one I would.
I've done woodworking and stuff, and it's not the least expensive stuff.
I know. For me, like, it's hard for me to, we paid $47 for each of it, but we also got the expansion for free. So really, like, cool stuff had $33 and then $13 for the expansion, which is really more or less what we paid.
Yeah.
So if you can split those up, like, 47 is a lot for like
for
basically
what Santorini is.
Well, because you're paying for the components. Yeah. That's really what you're paying for. Whereas I think.
Well, I think same thing with Druids. Like that $50 was paying for this nice laser etched wood pieces and board.
And whereas like for Patchwork, I can't really like upgrading the buttons. That's cool, but like upgrading, like you couldn't really upgrade those tiles.
No.
Unless
make
you get
them
like actual cloth.
Yeah.
I'm sure someone has tried.
Yeah, and then you actually have to stitch it in every time. It takes about 5 hours for a game.
Patchwork Legacy.
Yeah. I can't say that one of them is more favorite than the others. They all 3 of them are different enough, and I get different things out of them. Like Santorini's one, like especially it's the biggest box, so it's the least portable.
Yes, I was going to say So it's definitely the least portable out of all of those.
But it's
big
one
boxes, big bags of buildings.
Yeah,
but it's one that like sitting here at the house, like for killing time, we can bust out and play a bunch of games real quick, and I can get some nice light strategy. Mm-hmm. Like it doesn't feel like the decisions don't feel like they have quite as much weight. Sometimes it kind of does, but
for me at least, I feel like that's part of its length. The reason why, because it's 10 to 15 minutes. So if you mess up, you're like, all right, I messed up. Let me try this again.
Yeah, except like with Druids, it's about the same length, but the decisions feel much more like it feels like there's more weight when I play Druids. Like I think through my turns a little bit more. I don't know. They feel different. Druids feels a little bit heavier.
Well, because I mean, that one is a lot more cat and mousey. That like you have messing up hurts you a lot more in that than it usually does in Santorini.
Yeah.
So, unless you're playing with Bia, where her ability is basically she can kill people. So that gets a lot more chest. Like you're like, oh god, if I move there, she can. Oh, where do I move? Like that. That definitely gets that.
And then Patchwork, I don't. Now, granted, I don't play Patchwork with really many people outside of Megan. Mm-hmm. And when I play that with Megan, like it's way more lighthearted. Like it's something that we play, hanging out at a brewery, having a couple beers, and just talking while we have a game in front of us that we can do things with. And then at the end, somebody happens to win.
Right.
So they're all a little different. They all kind of fit different things that I look for.
Gotcha.
I'm really trying hard to say that they all scratch. To not say that they all scratch different itches.
And yes, you did. You just did.
Yeah.
Yep.
So for me, it'd be Santorini, Patchwork, and then Druids. So that's my list. They were all enjoyable, but I definitely felt that I just wanted to keep playing Santorini over and over again. Patchwork, it's like maybe one more time, and then I think it's also for that one because I've probably played 400 games on my phone with it or something crazy like that.
See, whereas like Patchwork, since Megan has been travel nursing, I haven't played it at all until we decided to review it. I played it a couple times just to brush up and get a feeling on it, but I don't think I'll play it much unless she's back, and it's just a small game that we can throw in her purse when we go to a brewery. Like Patchwork isn't one I'm going to play a lot. I could see myself playing Santorini a whole lot, especially because it can occasionally jump up to 4. So it's cool to throw in the bag for game night, and if I get there early and it's just like you there, we can play some 2-player. If somebody new shows up and they're like, "Ooh, this looks kind of cool," we can throw them in as a third. Druids, I'll occasionally probably still take it to game night, but it's going to be one that also is going to sometimes struggle to find time to play or situations where I'll want to play. But I don't know. I really do like Druids. I think especially when Megan's back, we'll play Druids a lot. So,
what about you, Jeff?
Santorini, Druids, Patchwork.
There we go.
So. So that's the...
Can you make your 3 list just so we can...
Druid, Santorini, Patchwork.
There we go. I just wanted all 3 for different ones. 3 different variations of it. But obviously, Santorini was 1, 1, and 2, so it is the best.
Clearly.
So
Objective.
Whatever. So that wraps up those 3 reviews. Like I said, we're going to be doing... similar little things where we kind of maybe do some comparison and contrasting with games that are similar. We've talked about doing games like Seven Wonders and then Seven Wonders Duel, and see how they compare and contrast. And
Power Grid,
Power Grid,
the card game.
Power Grid, the card game. Race for the Galaxy, Roll for the Galaxy.
Yeah,
we're going to kind of pair some things up like that.
So hopefully you guys enjoyed this because
yes, and if you did, let us know.
Get more.
If you didn't, I guess you can let us know.
Yeah,
then we're gonna do it anyway.
We have some other ones that are that we're thinking of, way down the line of just like this one was 2-player abstracts, like role playing, like games with role playing in them, or hidden identity games or bluffing games and stuff like that. So hopefully you enjoyed it.
Yeah, get you some awesome little game coverage.
Make your own podcast.
Yeah.
Review your own games how you want them.
Yeah, with blackjack and hookers.
Actually, just skip the reviewing games.
And the blackjack.
Okay, so finishing up here, we had a new email. Or did you have something else, Jeff?
No, before emails, officially Terraforming Mars is in reprinting currently at this moment and will be released in February.
Yep.
From them themselves. So
we'll be
as
all
much as
over
we
that.
Talk about Terraforming Mars, you all will also be able to talk about your Terraforming Mars here in the next 6 to 8 weeks. Fingers crossed, at least.
Yep. Anyway, all right. So, so we have we got an email here from a listener of the show.
This one is from Andrew, titled "Just Listen to the What Did You Play This Week" podcast, referencing our cribbage conversation. Andrew says, "Zach, you did not teach me how to play cribbage, damn it. I've been playing since high school, at least. But yeah, we should definitely play more compounded. I don't think I'll make it tonight looking at the weather. Maybe next week. Anyway, I enjoyed the interview. Good stuff, guys. Andrew.
Cool.
So
he was talking about game night.
Yeah,
Yes.
so in case you didn't realize, Andrew is one of our friends who listens to the show and occasionally emails us in. But mostly I wanted to read that because, for any of you who started listening to us because of the What Did You Play This Week interview, I hope you now realize that Zach is a charlatan and a liar, and you should not take anything he says at face value.
I remember you definitely not teaching him cribbage. Was it Matt you taught cribbage?
Yes, I taught Matt.
Okay.
Matt cribbage, maybe.
I don't know who you talk about.
I probably just said a name wrong, but I'm just going to assume that Andrew is wrong. That's what I'm going to do.
You have not been playing since high school, Andrew.
Yeah.
You're clearly wrong.
Everything you know is wrong.
Yeah.
I remember playing, I think it was a 3-player game of cribbage that we played, and I won.
Yes.
On my very first game of cribbage.
Yeah. So you technically have the inter-podcast championship, and so we need to play again so I can take it from
I
you.
have the crown currently. I still need to name my last place Blood Bowl trophy.
Jeffy.
That's
the Jeffy.
Probably what it's going to be. I won so much this season.
It's the Jeffy, right, Ant?
I hate it. I hate that name so much.
I knew a Jeffy. That is going to fuel you to not get it, though.
Yeah. Yes. I knew a kid in grade school named Jeffy.
Little Jeffy.
And everyone always called him Jeffy, and he was real weird, and he burned down one of my friends' houses.
Oh, jeez.
He put like underwear on a bunny and then set it on fire, which then burned the house down. So,
well then,
yeah,
that seems like
that's all the name Jeffy reminds me of is that kid that burned down my friend's house.
It just reminds me of the Johnny Knoxville movie where he was competing in the Special Olympics when he wasn't actually.
I did not see that movie.
Yeah, so Johnny Knoxville.
I know of that movie.
Shitty con man who tries to con the Special Olympics.
Yes.
And then, ends up being a feel-good story where he realizes that all of the competitors are actually really skilled athletes, and he's just a worthless piece of crap who can't beat any of them at any of the events. But his
that sounds like the South Park episode with Eric Cartman.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, it does.
But his name that he does when he enters the Special Olympics is Jeffy, and he always does it.
Okay.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, so that's emails. I read out your emails if you send me emails.
And you can send those to emails@milehighgameguys.com. You can also get a hold of us through our Instagram @milehighgameguys. We're all 3 on Twitter. I primarily tweet under @MHGameguys.
I am Zach_MHGG.
And I am Jeff_MHGG.
We have a Board Game Geek Guild for Mile High Game Guys, facebook.com/milehighgameguys. And we have the website, milehighgameguys.com.
That's where we post our podcast stuff, and that's about it.
Correct.
At some point, we'll do something else.
But it's got awesome little show notes with timestamps and links to the things we talk about. So if you want a link to like a Kickstarter or piece of news that we talk about, they are on the show notes. So
if you want Adrian to make it feel like he actually does something useful, then go check that out.
It's a bad idea. Self-esteem.
They try to wear me down.
Just builds you up stronger, right?
Sure.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so that's been it for episode 28 of the Mile High Game Guys Board Gaming Podcast. As always, I've been Adrian.
I'm still Zach.
And I'm Count Jeffula.
Bye.
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 All right, hang on, because I actually want to be here for the email, but I have to pee so bad.
Such a small bladder.
It's a tiny person.
I actually have to pee too, but I can hold it like an American.
American.
Adrian, this better make your fucking tag.